Hello everybody, welcome to Bitcoin Daily. Not exactly 9 a.m. Central European time on the dollar. It's sometimes during the day. But we do this Monday to Friday, not actually every Monday to Friday, sometimes Monday to Friday, sometimes, 9 a.m. Central European time, It's always a surprise, these Bitcoin Dailies is always a surprise. When it's gonna come? It's gonna come today, it's gonna come at 9, at 10, maybe later today, I'm trying to keep you up on the toes a little bit up there. So, welcome to Bitcoin Daily. Today, we're gonna talk about, the price of Bitcoin. And, we can just say it right now, there is nothing wrong with the price, guys. There is literally nothing wrong with the price. It looks nice. We're gonna talk about Credit Suisse and the banks collapsing. We're also gonna talk about, inflation and government injecting money into the system right now, $2 trillion. Into the banks, that's like injecting money into the system, and we're gonna look at how that's gonna play out, but we're not gonna speculate too much on what DXY is doing and what stock market is doing. We're just gonna look at Bitcoin right now, and there is nothing wrong, guys. There is nothing wrong. Also, we're gonna talk about a little bit about when it's time to sell. Is it time to sell now? Because oftentimes people think, wow, it's at 24.5, it's at 25k, maybe I should sell now, because if it goes down to 10k, oh, that's gonna be juicy buy, so people think like that. But it's not always good time to sell, and we're gonna talk a little bit about that, when is good time to sell and stuff like that, like what has to happen to get to tell us that's good time to sell. S, good morning, what's up? The green is gobbling. Yo, TLA, what's up? We gotta know. XRP Legend, morning. Ireland, how you doing, man? When Moon, when Lambo? We don't care about Lambos. It's Bugatti, Lambos is 2017. That's for poor people. We trillionaires, we rich people, we want Bugattis. Utro, sorted out my membership. Nice. Thanks for stopping by. Blow the truth, good evening. How you doing, man? Stanko, Utro, dobro jutro. Adej, morning, y'all, morning. We gotta know what's happening in Bitcoin. Gotta know. Gord, cup and handle DXY4. Also head and shoulders on Bitcoin, small time frames. How small time frames? There is like 5 seconds small time frames, 5 minutes. Credit Suisse got a bailout. Yeah, something like that. Credit Suisse is up 40%, so we're gonna start talking about Credit Suisse a little bit up here. We all gonna make it, guys. Edward, how you doing, man? No Justice, good morning. What's up? Andre Silva, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, we can start talking about Credit Suisse up here. Credit Suisse jumps 40% after, here we go, Credit Suisse, this is Credit Suisse, this is from Norwegian Financial News, jumps 40% after emergency help. So they got, they got some kind of help, and it's up, 40% immediately, Also to notice is that Justin, 2 trillion could be injected into the US banking system by the Federal Reserve Emergency Loan Program, JP Morgan says. 2 trillion. So the banks are getting a bailout, they're calming down situation. Now this is actually very bad for inflation. There is three ways that we can actually increase inflation. Well, two ways that we can increase the inflation, and then the third thing is about how to stop the inflation. The 2 ways that we can increase inflation is by printing more money, and number 2, government spending money. That's what I know from Miles Friedman. But those are the 2 ways. So when they are putting 2 trillion into the banks, they are increasing the supply into the market. They are injecting money into the system, right? But when they are printing, they are also doing the same thing, right? So this will affect inflation definitely, 100%. Credit Suisse looks like it got a bailout. It's up 40%. You don't do 40% unless market is convinced. I know that Norwegian stock is up a little bit, I think, from the open. Norwegian, it's up 1.2%. It's getting a little bit slight, move up here. You can see these big red cans, but it's getting a slight move up here, a little bit towards upside. So how that will affect us, we don't know. But there is definitely some kind of optimism in the market. I think a little bit in the stock market when it comes to banks right now. So that's gonna be interesting to see. But it's never a good thing when the government is printing money and it's putting money into the system, spending money, because that creates inflation. So unfortunately, our inflation problems is still there. There has also been talk about Fed hikes that are gonna come 22nd March. That there will either be no Fed hikes or there will be a 0.25 of a hike in the interest rate. So either way, no hikes or 0.25, all, you know, it's all good for us, like literally all good for us. We don't care. We don't care, I think. Yeah, so Credit Suisse doing good, Bitcoin doing nicely over here, and I don't know what I say. What more thing I was to talk about. Yeah, we got a new date, interesting date, but I don't know how important it is. April, 20th April. That's somewhere around here. What's gonna happen on this date? We are gonna have a new moon, but it's also gonna be eclipse. So we're gonna get you know, new moon. We're gonna get eclipse new moon, which always a bad thing. Eclipses are terribly you know, eclipses are very important events in the you know, on the calendar. So when they, you know, line up with these, you know, new moons and full moons, we do respect those. So 20th April, something's gonna happen. We think it might be a dump since we are very, very bullish. So we're gonna see, you know, how that actually affects the markets. Once we start getting closer and closer to the 20th April, if we are going towards upside, expect a dump. And if we are going towards downside, expect a pump. Eclipse always dumps. Eclipse always dumps. So we got a new date, you know, that's 20th April. So we got a, you know, more than a month of pump towards upside. So there's that. Let's talk a little bit about Bitcoin, and then we're gonna talk about when is it time to sell, when is it time to buy, because I know a lot of people, like I just said, a lot of people might be interested in, you know, they're having these kind of thoughts. If I sell now and it dumps, I can buy it so much cheaper, because right now we are at the top, right? Some kind of top. And you know, is this gonna be the third time to sell the top? You know, should I do it? Should I sell the top and then, you know, buy it down there at 10K or 3K where Crypto Savvy says we're gonna go? And I don't think that's time just yet. The reason for that, if you remember back here, I actually sold my coins, some of my coins, 70% of my coins, because I was thinking like, how am I gonna, you know, be able to sell down the road when it comes into the bull market? So it was some kind of test. It was actually a good sell, but you know, it went down here and then it exploded towards the upside. Then down here as well, I think over here I wanted to sell again, but I was like, nah, I'm not doing that again. So I wait all the way down here, and then over here I came into, you know, major panic. But this down here would have been a panic sell, and this up here is a calculated sell. So these calculated sells are based on something that might indicate the price is gonna go towards downside, while this down here is just you know, random panic sell. You just think it's just gonna drop down, you know, even more, and you just want to get out of the market. These things oftentimes are very, very bad sells, and oftentimes these things are very bad sells because once you get extended towards downside, it's more probable that it's gonna, you know, move towards the upside. This move can happen, but even after this move, it's gonna be even more extended, and then it's gonna pop towards the upside, right? So these moves, but I did get into, you know, huge fear, and during one Bitcoin daily, I said like, I'm in fear, I want to sell, and every time this thing happens, when I get to this point where I'm in fear and I want to sell and I'm in panic, you know, that's the time that we actually reverse and, you know, go towards the upside. So there was that. I did not sell down here, so all good, all dandy. That said, but I did sell over here, and I did wanted to sell over here. And but these were calculated sells. Now I did not sell over here because I didn't want another one of these moves up here to happen. So I was like, nah, you know what? I'm just gonna hodl, you know, whether that this goes to 10K or not, right? So there was that. But the thing to notice is that, you know, there was something on the chart that told me that, you know, something is wrong. Something is wrong, and it might go down. So over here, what told me that we might dump towards downside over here, because we are climbing, we are breaking the support, we are already losing strength up here. I was seeing, you know, major, you know, bad moves happening. You know, it was kind of losing strength, so you kind of know it's gonna drop down at least a little bit, right? Oftentimes it can drop even more, but you know, it was calculated sell. Something did happen on the chart that showed me that the chart is no longer, you know, any kind of validity towards the upside, because it just so hard to break towards the upside. Too much euphoria. And on the next move up here, when it came to the next move up here, what got me worried is that the pattern, because oftentimes these kind of patterns up here where you go down a little bit and then jump up and then right back down again, this happens all the time. You'll get some kind of top up here, you'll do this, you know, scam pump towards the upside to get out the longs over here, and the trap longs as well towards upside, and just go right back below the levels down here and, you know, continue towards the downside. Now, this wasn't exactly the case, but it did play out the same way, because it did go towards downside. And the channel over here, it dumped in the right, it picked up right back up. But oftentimes these are more like, you know, springs towards the downside. It goes up to, does this move and then continues towards the upside. They are very, very springy towards downside, these moves over here. That didn't happen, but still went down. It went a little bit slow, but, you know, that's what was getting me worried. Also, when it came up here, we did the same, you know, same move below the support down here. We start, you know, consolidating up here. There was a bear flag up here. You know, I definitely want to sell, you know, this bear flag over here. This bottom down here, because I thought if you do go to the bottom, it might come towards downside. But then you're on the bottom, and it might spring, but, you know, it's gonna be looking very, very terrible, right? So up here in this bear flag somewhere, I did want to sell up here, but I didn't do that because, you know, I don't want to, you know, buy, sell on the spot, right? We fell down right back up above that, but what I want to say that something needs to happen for me to become bearish, right? Number one, even if we dump big time like over here, and I'm in some kind of panic fear because I didn't see anything. Oftentimes these are very bad sells, but you know, if something is to happen and I want to sell, is because the price starts looking very, you know, bad, you know. It fails to do this, it fails to do that. Some kind of pattern is on the chart, is doing something. It's never the news. It's very, very rarely the news. It's never the news. It's never the news. It's never the banks. It's never the Fed. It's never the inflation. It's never the you know, Corona. It's never anything that's getting at least over here. What I'm not over here. It has never been the case that the news have you know been telling him to sell. News are often FUD, and news are often stuff that makes you sell I would say unrational, because you are not very rational when you're selling on the news. You don't look at the charts, even though the charts look very good. You're still selling the, you know, you're still selling the news, whatever the price is, right? The chart might be the most beautiful chart you've seen, but if you're selling the news, you're selling the most beautiful chart, because you're not having any kind of rational idea about, you know, what the price is doing, right? So I need to see something, you know, bad happen over here to tell me that, okay, now it's time to sell, now it's time to get out because this is failing. It's too early to do that, and not only that, this actually looks very, very good. It actually looks very good. So you know, when it comes time to sell, you know, I need to see some kind of weakness in the chart. It's never gonna be the news. It's gonna be some kind of weakness in the chart. Captain, how you doing, man? It's gonna be some kind of you know, weakness in the chart, something that's telling me that, you know, okay, this thing over here, it's not playing out as it should play out, right? We're still above the moving averages up here. We're still consolidating. There has been this big week on the downside down here, but the price, this red candle is not just dumping down. We are not losing the momentum, and this pattern over here that played out, I haven't seen it play out, you know, 3 times down, 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 and stuff like that, right? Although that could be happening, and it really does. It really looks all very, very good, because this isn't just, you know, slight move above the moving average or something like that over here, and then, you know, straight back down. We exploded above everything. We are consolidating on the extensions of the moving averages, which is actually very good. If you look at the small time frames up here, even it's still pulling down, but there is not much bearishness. Even when he broke this, you know, move down over here, you expect some kind of bigger dump up here. No, we pumped up here a little bit. Right now we might go a little bit more down. We can still pull towards downside. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying the way we are doing that, it's not very bearish. It's not very bearish. So I don't see right now any kind of pattern, anything like sure, we did break, you know, this momentum towards upside over here. Then we had this trend over here that we broke in. Right now we are having this support over here, so we are definitely curving a little bit towards the downside over here, but it's nothing, you know, extremely bearish. And these are small time frames, right? So 4-hourly time frames up here, we're just pulling right now to the 20 moving average. We might even dump down here a little bit more up here. There might be some kind of channel over here. We're gonna look at that a little bit extensively, you know, at another time. But you can definitely just go over here, you know, tap it up here and then continue towards upside as well, because I don't see any kind of, you know, any kind of pattern up here on the chart right now that's telling me that this is just gonna dump straight down. Straight down. On the daily time frame, it looks even it looks even better. Now we did, you know, fail to get a, you know, higher high on the chart, and we get a lower high, but this is a daily time frame, so this, you know, these two pivot points are way too, you know, way too distant from each other. If you look at it on a weekly time frame, we get a higher high, and right now technically we have a higher high here as well, but we still have 3 days left on this weekly time frame. But there is not much that is actually wrong with the chart. And I am not in the mood, in the selling mood. I'm not in euphoric mood because, you know, we are not exploding to any kind of levels. I'm not extremely bullish. It's just kind of neutral place to be right now. But this doesn't look bad. That's what I'm trying to say. This doesn't look bad. Can we pull down? Definitely we can. And we said yesterday that, you know, if we pull down, you see these moving averages right here giving us support, this support level. If we pull down only below, you know, right now that's around 22.5, give or take, 22.6. If we pull back below these levels, 22.6, that is the moment that everybody should be in, you know, fear and anxiety and panic, and by that time, you know, you're down below 22.6. But right now, what we are doing right now is consolidation pattern. Consolidation, because why do we consolidate? Because we hit, you know, we had a 35% move towards the upside up here, and we hit the resistance up here at the top, right? So we hit resistance over here. So we are going some kind of expanding, a little bit expanding musical instrument up here. Might be even some kind of channel up here, depending a little bit. But we did hit some kind of top up here. Maybe we can even, you know, draw this over here. Yeah, something like this over here. This looks like a better channel, because this over here looks like expanding musical instrument, but this looks like a legit channel, and it looks nice. So you fell out of this channel towards downside over here, you try to get up, back up, down, and right back above the moving averages. So you get up a huge bunch of support. So I would say, you know, to be on the safe side, the getting below, you know, 23, maybe even this, these, yeah, it's still around, you know, 22.5. It's below the 20 moving average, but it is, you know, the trend line up here is at 23, and I don't think we should go below 23.1 or something like that. So this channel cannot fail. If this channel fails, that's time to panic, right? If this channel breaks towards downside, that's time to panic, and that's something when we should consider, you know, okay, something is not right, time to get out of the market. But right now we are not into that. Right now we are just consolidating inside middle of the channel up here. There is a mid channel up here, right? We are considering, we pull back to the mid. Let's try to see where the actual mid channel is on this thing over here. Yeah, we actually came to, you know, we came all the way to the top. We pulled back, close below the mid channel right now, pulling a little bit back up here. So right now there is a resistance, there is a support level over here on the channel. Hopefully you can actually break, you know, very soon towards upside, and again go towards upside up here and stay in the upper side of the channel. But we'll see that. But you can see up here that it is acting very nicely. So this channel actually looks to be a legit one. So this is a lot better than the expanding musical instrument that we were just, you know, talking about. But you know, something needs to happen with this price over here to tell me that, you know, this is definitely gonna, you know, drop down. You will see weakness on a 4-hourly time frame up here. Or this is daily time frame, 4-hour time. We will see some kind of, before that happens, we will see some kind of weakness on the chart. You will see it falling down, and you will see it try and go up, and you know, you will see something that tells you that, okay, this is stopping out pattern. It fails, it's gonna drop down, you know. But we are not even close to that. Not only that, this looks beautiful. It's a beautiful chart. It's doing the exactly thing what needs to do. This spring towards downside, this spring down here, this you know, bear trap, bear track, the spring, call it whatever you want to call. This move, 35% moves, is extremely bullish. It's extremely bullish. So yeah, I don't see anything wrong with the chart. It looks nice. There's not much actually to talk about the charts today. I think we might, you know, depends a little bit how this is gonna play out, because I don't see any kind of, you know, clear out pattern over here. There is a channel down here, you know, so it might pull back down here towards downside. It might also just bounce over here and go towards upside. I really don't know how this is gonna play right now. It's a little bit, you know, tricky to say. When you look at it on daily time frame up here as well, you see that we have, you know, empty space down here between the moving averages and us. But we also could also go and retest this move towards upside. Most likely is, you know, some kind of consolidation pattern up here right now before we actually start moving. But it looks nice, guys. It looks nice. I'm not in fear, but I'm not bullish or euphoric either. So, you know, there's that. You never want to see me euphoric. You never want to see me, you know, blasting Dodge Daddy, you know, being, you know, overly bullish, you know, because that's a bad indicator. So there's that. You do want to see me in panic and fear because that's a bottom indicator. But right now, the price is actually very, very nice. On the weekly time frame, the price actually looks even nicer. On the weekly time frame, the price actually looks even nicer. But even, you know, the daily time frame, the weekly time frame, like everything looks super nice. And very enjoyable, very enjoyable. So, you know, although with all of these things that are happening in the stock market, DXY goes up, DXY goes down, you know, stock market goes up, stock market goes down, you know, banks going bust, banks are not getting a bailout. You know, with all of these things that are happening, you know, we really should not be caring about what's happening in the world. We should be caring what's happening in the chart. And if the chart is bullish, we should trust the chart because chart prices in everything else, right? That's sad. I hope you got something out of this video though. Been cheapy. I don't. 2 jobs. Trading not going that well if you have 2 jobs. The channel is Hopium. It's expanding musical trumpet. Sure, man. Sure. Expanding musical instrument. It might be that, but it does look very nice as a channel as well. I miss Dodge Daddy. Should we play Dodge Daddy to, you know, set the tone for the... Nah, it's not Dodge Daddy time. I'm too tired to play the Dodge Daddy. I don't feel excited. You know, there should be some excitement to play Dodge Daddy. You know, there should be definitely some excitement. At least, you know, a little bit excitement to play Dodge Daddy. There should, you know, so there's that. Don't jinx it. Yeah, so we are right now having the full moon, of course, as you can see on the chart. So these full moons, oftentimes, you can see here previously as well, we got a full moon up here, but, you know, went down and then up. But technically, you know, you know, this, you know, started over here, ended up here, right? So we went towards upside. Technically, we started over here, but right now we are up there. So technically, the moons, you know, always finish higher than where they started, right? So we started up here, we closed up here. We start up here, we closed up here, right? We start over here, we closed up here. They finish, you know, they can go down in the start or stuff like that, but they finish higher. So this is a very, very bullish indication, right? Very bullish indication. We like that. We like that a lot. Guys, thank you for stopping by. It's been very nice day. Right now it's very, very sunny. It's very sunny outside, so I'm gonna go, you know, try to do something nice. I don't know actually what. I am not going to the gym, guys. My muscles are hurting, you know, after, especially my legs. My legs are dead, so I'm jumping over today over the gym. I'm going tomorrow again, so there is that. But yeah, the price looks actually very, very nice. That's all I have to say about the price. No fear whatsoever. I'm a little bit unsure whether there is gonna be a big, you know, big moves today, but it does look nice. And when it comes to indicators down here, I'm gonna show you something that gives us hopium. Yeah, that's one thing I forgot to say about the 2014. The 2014. You remember that we talked about 2014 button down here. How 2014 bottom looks exactly like, you know, or how 22-23 bottom looks exactly like 2014 bottom, and we talked about that this fractal might play out. Now the thing is that fractals don't play out into, you know, forever. You know, at one point they go into different directions, and I think that we are at that point right now. So the biggest reason I think that we are at that point is that we are not dumping big time over here. So we are at 50 moving average, and I'm going to show you, and the RSI was at 60, and you can see up this move up here came very close to the zero line over here. But you know, it curved towards downside, What you're gonna see right now in 2023 is that we are actually, you know, doing this move over here with the MACD on the weekly time frame, and that gives me hopium that eventually the weekly MACD will actually cross this orange line, will actually cross the zero line up here eventually. So this looks very good. If it continues going towards upside here, this orange line will break towards upside. Not only that, you can see up here that we are getting in the green, you know, histogram, but look at his bull line. I don't see if you can see it. It goes a little bit down here and then goes towards upside up here. So it does something like this over here, while this one goes still in a straight direction. So it looks like it wanted to, you know, curve down over here. It looked like it wanted to curve down, but then it changed its mind, and right now it's going towards upside. So this might be the point. You can see also the 50 moving average up here, and there was also the 60 RSI. So you see right now that this fractal and the Wyckoff pattern that everybody's talking about, we can also talk about two things that everybody's talking about. The Wyckoff pattern that everybody's talking about say that this move right now over here needs to play out, because everybody is still waiting for the Wyckoff move. We are not waiting for the Wyckoff move. We know when to stop looking for things. They are looking for this move towards downside over here, right? They're still looking, you know, people following Wyckoff, they are still looking for this, you know, spring towards downside. What they do not understand when it comes to Wyckoff is that Wyckoff is a generalization of a pattern. It's not exact science. You will get some kind of spring. You got the spring didn't come down here, the spring came up here. Let's look at that, and I can explain this to you, how this actually works out. So let's go up here. Wyckoff accumulation chart pattern, something like that, right? Distribution, accumulation over here. This accumulation, this is distribution. Which yeah, Wyckoff accumulation, this one. Let's copy chart. Yeah, doesn't matter. There we go. So what you're gonna see here on the chart, this is what people are talking about, right? This is what people are talking about. They're talking about this spring towards downside, that, you know, you create some kind of lows, then you go down and you know, test that spring. What they fail to realize that the Wyckoff accumulation chart, these charts are, you know, based on certain patterns that happened before, but these patterns don't always play out the same way. These patterns don't always play. It's a generalization of a pattern. The same way we can have a falling wedge that goes something like this over here, and go something like, you know, this over here, and then maybe be a little bit longer, and maybe even, you know, sharper towards downside, and maybe very slow. Like, there is a lot of ways how a falling wedge can actually play out, right? You know, but generalization is the falling wedge goes towards downside. Generalization is, you know, you will see some kind of tip tap and breakdown. Now, how many times you hit it up down, you know, there is no, it's not exact science, right? You gotta understand that. And the same way, and also the head and shoulder, and the, you know, and falling wedge is a very, you know, simple pattern, very simple pattern. So when you get something more complex, like, you know, head and shoulders patterns, they have all kind of different head and shoulders patterns, right? Small, big moves up here. They are different in nature, but this is a generalization of accumulation. This is a generalization of a accumulation move. It does not have to play exactly the same. The important thing to understand is there is some kind of spring. Accumulation, you got a selling climax down here, right? You got some kind of support, but you can have several support levels. This can be one support, it can be second support, one support, second support, right? This spring does not have to go into hit to support. It can come up here, the spring can come up there as well. It's a generalization of how the move actually happened. You go down, you have a, you know, selling climax, you have an automatic response. You go down, you find some kind of support, you maybe try to climb, you go down and, you know, retest the support, you go up again, then you have this, you know, spring, and then you go towards upside, right? There are parts of the chart that needs to happen in order to, you know, something to play out, but it does not have to be exactly the same. The spring does not have to come down to the bottom down here. You have to understand that, right? The spring doesn't have. Now we did have a spring down here, give or take somewhere down here, right? It is a good spring. So right now, if you're gonna talk about Wyckoff accumulation, I think it's already played out. The Wyckoff accumulation, you already got the spring. Right now you are having the zigzag up here at these stops. Zigzag up here at these stops, and once that's broken, and we already know once that gets broken you go to the moon, but this is what people are looking at, right? And they still believe, because they look at this chart over here and they don't understand this is a generalization of accumulation part. They think that this move needs to come down here and then you have a spring, because they don't understand charts the way we do. We are TA fans club guys. We care about the charts. We look at the lines. We try to figure out what patterns are doing. Why are they doing that? Why does this price goes into this area over here and stops exactly at certain point? We try to find that out. You know, we try to find out how the patterns play out, how the market psychology behind the patterns work. You know, why do things move in the way they move? And this you know, Wyckoff accumulation that everybody's talking about, a lot of people are wrong. I think most people are wrong, because they're looking at this as some kind of a, you know, cheat sheet for, you know, how the accumulation needs to work. No, this is a generalization of patterns that might or might not play out in this way. But you know, there is some kind of, you know, overextension, there is some automatic response, there is some kind of testing of certain support levels. You get a spring and then you go towards the upside. Generalization. So this Wyckoff pattern up here, and that's why a lot of people think that it needs to go towards the downside. But if you are gonna look at Wyckoff pattern, the only thing you need to know right now, you got the spring. And if you look down here at Wyckoff, that is the last move before the, you know, pump. That is the last move before the pump. So if you're gonna talk about Wyckoff accumulation, the pump is coming, guys. The pump is coming. That said, yeah, we can also say the last thing up here, because again, I mentioned this yesterday, but you know, people are talking about this. So people think that this is a reversal pattern over here, a diamond pattern, expanding music constant. So right now they think that, you know, it's gonna do, you know, the diamond pattern over here. They think it's gonna do this and then towards downside. So this is also bear hopium the way I see it. I have never been fan of the diamond patterns, although they do seem to look like that. But diamond patterns are often part of a different kind of pattern. This might be a channel over here, because you can see this line. So you can pull this line towards downside over here, right? This is a channel. This is a channel. And oftentimes what happens up here is that we get into some kind of, you know, some kind of other channel over here, right? And then you go towards downside, you create this, you know, top down, you know, you create this, you know, moved up here, and then people say this is a diamond pattern. But there are, I don't think there are any such thing as diamond patterns. They look like diamond patterns when you take several other things into a box, but you know, I think it's I also seen diamond patterns go towards upside. So I don't know why people say that this is a bearish pattern up here. They can go down, but I've seen a lot of times these diamond patterns goes towards upside, but you know, for whatever reason people say that this goes down. But I don't see this as a diamond pattern. I see this as like we just showed you. Just go a little bit back up in time up here. Was this chart? No, it was this chart. There we go. I see this as you know, the channel towards upside, and I'm still sticking to my guns when it comes to the channel. I think the channel is most probable right now, the way. And you gotta understand that although channel has a big chance to break towards downside, if and when this breaks towards upside, it's gonna be the biggest move you've seen. Could be a megaphone pattern. It could be, but you know, it is kind of, you know. So Wyckoff really that simple. Seems like tricky price. Yeah, it is. Yeah, Wyckoff is really that simple. That's what people don't understand, because Wyckoff is generally like he needs to draw these things, but you know, it is that simple. It is that simple, and the reason it doesn't seem simple is because people are, you know, putting too much thought into this. And when we see some kind of pattern, like even this pattern, even this simple pattern or a little bit complex pattern down here that I said that you know, this usually goes towards downside. It did do that, but it did in another way that, you know, I am familiar with on the small time. On the small time frame, this plays a lot faster. I mean, when I see this on a 1 hourly time frame, 5 minute time frame, you know, 4 hour time, not 4 hour time frame, but you know, on small time frames, this plays a lot faster. This move towards downside, so you can see it happening a lot faster, right? But you know, sometimes goes down here, sometimes goes a little bit up here, goes down up here. You know, there is different ways how this things can actually play out. But what is important to know, you come to some kind of top, you pull back, you have a big spring towards upside and go down. This is a generalization of the move. So this same move over here, generalization of this move is you go up, you go into some kind of, you know, box up here towards the upside, you know, and this box can be something like this. This box can be some kind of head and shoulders pattern. It can be a whole thing. You pull back a little bit, you explode above the resistance line and pull back down down there again. Now this is a generalization of this pattern, and this pattern can play out in several ways, and how, you know, it's not always the same. It's a little bit different structure, different this, but it's mostly the same. You go up to some kind of resistance, you try to fail to break, then you pull a little bit back, you try again, you know, get out everybody in the long position, get some kind of, you know, a long trap, and then you pull down. It's a generalization, and the same thing with Wyckoff accumulation and distribution patterns. It's a generalization of some kind of move. It does not look like this on the charts. It does not look like this on the charts. But important thing to know, he is right about, you know, selling climax, you know, and this support test and the spring. Like these things, they are right, you know. But where these levels are and stuff like that, people are taking it to, you know, trying to figure out exactly on the dollar where that is. Wyckoff accumulation was also the 2014 play. Although it played out differently. This is also Wyckoff accumulation. It played out differently, but this is also Wyckoff accumulation. That's why we're saying that, you know, that 2014 is the same right now. You got a selling climax down here. You got some kind of automatic response up here, maybe towards top. You got some kind of, you know, standard, you know, test down here. You got secondary test down here, and then you got this move towards upside, and then you got a big spring. Maybe he used 2014, right? But it's important to know. You got a, you know, selling climax. You got an automatic response, whether that's up here or up there, right? Doesn't matter. You got some kind of, you know, test on the downside. You got some kind of move, you got some kind of spring. This looks like a spring to me down here, right back up there again, right? It comes in different ways, in shapes and forms, right? But, you know, it oftentimes, you know, parts are the same, but, you know, the chart might actually look different. Show the daily moving average. Okay, 950 buy zone. Just have to be patient. Wait for the dump. Accumulation is just a range where you buy low and sell high for an extended period of time until the range breaks. Yeah, you could also call it like that. Over here in 2014, we still believe that this was also a, you know, accumulation phase down here. You got a highs up here, you got a lows down there, right? Or down here, there is lows, up here there are highs, right? I just pull the lines, you know, make the, you know, and once this, you know, broke towards the upside, so was a, you know, accumulation phase is, you know, finished. And the same thing is happening right now. We already know that up here. We knew that this was accumulation phase since June. But, you know, we got a highs, we got a, you know, you could say either this or these are lows, but over down here this was extension, you know, so there might be some, you know, double lows up here. But you'll see that we come to these lows up here, you know, after this move up here. So I mean, it is still accumulation time, and by once we break this towards upside, it's game over, game over. See, the accumulation is just manipulating the lows before rallying back up. Something like that, something like that. You can call it whatever you want to call it. Anyways, guys, that, you know, we talked a lot. I hope you, you know, learned something new. I hope you understand that, you know, something needs to happen on the chart to, you know, get us bearish. But right now, nothing is happening on the chart that's making us bearish or anything like that. There is no problem. With this move towards downside, like there is no problem, literally no problem, zero problems. So I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna relax, I'm gonna do other stuff, you know. Don't think too much about the price. Maybe do some trading. Again, guys, hit the like button on the way out. Bye-bye.